air assault. Hello, friends, and welcome to Shero Coffee Chat. We hope you've had a great week, and thank you for joining us today. We've got a full cup ahead, so grab your Shero coffee, because we're taking a spin around the Shero resource table. Plus, we've got your chat, tip, and guest of the week. Let's give a big shout out to our host, Melissa Farmer Hill, Army Combat Veteran, host of Shero Coffee Chat, and founder of the Shero Coffee Club, where we keep the world caffeinated and women veterans celebrated. And now, reporting for duty and ready to lead the conversation, Melissa Farmer Hill.
Air assault! Good morning, friends, and welcome to the Shero Coffee Chat, where we inform, we reflect, and broaden perspectives for the veteran community. And guess who else? Everyone who supports the veteran community. I'm so glad that you decided to join us today. This is the first Sunday of the year, and I am ready to go. And I definitely hope that you're having a great New Year start, right? Because we're already 4 days into the new year. And a little fact, I don't know if you know this, but did you know that 23% of people quit their resolutions within the first week? Yeah, I said it. Within the first week. We only 3 more days until we get to the first week. And I just want to say, if you made a New Year's resolution or a goal or whatever you're calling it in 2026, don't be that person. And if you've quit already, get back on that horse. Be encouraged, because you can do it. We definitely have our Shero coffee in hand. It's a dark roast black for me, because I am still in a fasting state. So we are ready to get into it. Are you ready? I'm ready. All right. So today I'm starting the new year off rocking it. Y'all see the T? Yes. I'm rocking it. I'm rocking my 101st Airborne Division Air Assault t-shirt today. Now, the 101st Airborne Division is also known as the Screaming Eagles, all right? And it's the Army's only division officially designated as Air Assault. So when you guys see me yell Air Assault, that's what I'm talking about, the Screaming Eagles, the 101st Airborne Division. So what that means is Air Assault, everything revolves around speed, mobility, to get the mission done by helicopter. So the 101st is based in Fort Campbell, Kentucky. Yep, that's at the border of Kentucky and Tennessee. It's home to the Sobolewski Air Assault School, and it's a place known for what I would call the toughest days, the toughest 10 days of my Army career. It trained soldiers in air assault operations, rappelling, sling loads, and all the things that demand discipline, right? Precision and mental toughness. I am definitely a graduate of the Sobolewski Air Assault School. I served with the 101st from 95 to 9. As you get older, the years wow. From 95 to 97. And then from 05 to 07, I deployed to Iraq with the 101st. So when I wear this t-shirt, it's just a reminder of standards, right? It reminds me of standards, showing up prepared, paying attention to details, and understanding really how you train is how you fight. So that's why one of the things, or the statements, slogans we used to say is train as you fight, because it is so true. And it's just to relate it to the civilian world, when you say how you do anything is how you do everything. So train as you fight. I just have a whole lot of memories there, and I am grateful for having to have the experience and opportunity to serve with the 101st. I am so proud to be a member, or a veteran member of that 101st experience for our Army veterans and other service members who serve there as well. All right, let me take a sip. Now, this coffee, you can get it at SheroCoffee.com, and it tastes so good. I think it tastes even better in 2026, to tell you the truth. But let's go to our Shero resource table. And at the Shero Coffee Chat, we know that life is a journey, right? And that's not always easy. That's why we have to, like I always say every Sunday, we got to keep our heads on a swivel when it comes to helping our veterans and their family members. You know, we have over 16 million veterans out there, and none of us, not one of us, has all the answers, but definitely together, right, we can find solutions. So the Shero resource table is all about sharing information, resources, programs, because when one of us wins, what happened? We all win. Yep. And now that I have said that, what we're going to talk about today, I think one of the most important things that you can do is plan your legacy. That's important, right? You have to plan your legacy. And in a lot of households, talking about, planning your legacy is one of the most avoided conversations. But here is one thing I can guarantee you. None of us are going to get out of life alive. None of us. I haven't witnessed it. And that's exactly, why this matters, because, as we prepare for, 2026 and setting our goals and checking our finances, to see what that next season look like, you don't want to keep putting it off, because planning your legacy is really part of the circle of life, right? And just like anything else that's important, this is something you want to be prepared for. But here's the reality: more than half adults in the US don't have a will or any kind of plan in place for when they die. And nearly 7 out of 10 people haven't even written down their wishes for end of life care or benefits. And that means if something happened tomorrow, many families would be trying to figure it out, the paperwork, what benefits, who do they need to call? And I want you to just think about that for a minute, because this is very serious. Ask yourself, if something happened to me, what would my family do first? Or would my family know what to do first? That's why I'm grateful for the VA, because they put together a free resource. And that resource is called Planning Your Legacy. And it's the Survivor and Burial Benefits Kit. And, they created it because it's something a lot of people struggle with. And so it's a kit. It's like a 24 page download you can do. And it keeps it simple. It doesn't keep a whole lot of stack of paperwork and things like that. It's really a straightforward guide, that can be used. And I like the fact that, it can be downloaded, or you can really go to the site and ask for one. They will mail you a hard copy of it, but it's easier to just download it. And, I think, one of the most helpful parts of that kit is, it gives you a place to write things down, where your military paperwork is, where your insurance paperwork is, where is that kept, who your family should call, and all of those important documents. I mean, and I'm just going to tell you guys, taking the time to do that can save your loved ones hours and days and sometimes weeks. But this is just the start. There are other parts that you can prepare for. But if you have not planned for your legacy, you can go to the benefits website at va.gov and get you one of those survivors kits. I'll make sure I put it in the link so you can definitely have it, because it's very, very important as you plan out your life, just like we plan out missions. Do the same with this year. So I just wanted to give you that information and let you know. All right, let me remove that. All right, we are back, and now we're going to kind of get into what matters this week. Now, we usually have the story of the week, but I want to just start to address some things that are going on in current news and maybe how it could impact veterans. So first, I have Venezuela, right? Over the weekend, if you don't know, turn on a news channel. There are reports that confirm that the United States carried out a major major military operation in Venezuela that resulted in the capturing of their president and his wife. U.S. forces were really involved in these strikes in Caracas, and I mean, just all around in other areas too. And so the president and his wife have been taken into U.S. custody to face federal charges. And what I want to reflect on is, now that their leader is in U.S. custody, Venezuela is now trying to gain control, but the situation is definitely right now, when you remove such a powerful leader, you've got instability in that region. You've got, and that impacts security. And because it involves the U.S., because this was a U.S. operation, it can require us, the United States, to shift priorities and allocate more resources. So in some cases that might include, and this is what I want, does this include deployment or extended missions that really impact our loved ones? And that's why staying informed matters. So if you don't know about Venezuela, let me just highly recommend that you just find out what's going on, because whatever's going on in the world, United States is going to be a part of it, more than likely. And so what that means for your loved ones and things like that, you have to just stay aware of that. All right. Now, the second, some major changes to the military and VA benefits are taking effect as we move into 2026. So some updates that were passed by Congress late in 2025, they're rolling them out. And it's affecting how service members, transition and get veterans access. And, one important change veterans should know about is the healthcare access. Now, the VA is reorganizing how it manages care in 2026 and expanding community care options. That means veterans may be able to see doctors outside the VA system, with the VA still covering the cost. Now, this happens especially when appointments are delayed. And so you might be, if you're a part of the VA system, you might be seeing it a little right now. We're already in the process, but now I think it's going to broaden. I think community care is going to broaden, and definitely these changes are going to go throughout the year. They say it's supposed to reduce wait times and you get better access. Just expanding the community options. It's a good thing. It's a good thing. But the one thing that I am cautious about is, when you go to the VA, you do have, at least my experience has been, there are like doctors in place where they understand what you're going through. They understand what you've been through, because there's an entire community that only services veterans. Now, as long as they hold these doctors to that same accountability, I think it could work. I think it would be an amazing thing if that happened. So I'm just really cautious of that. And that's why I'm always encouraging you to use the VA, right? So continue to use the VA if you're entitled to use it. And we'll just see how everything rolls out. And then one good thing that I do like is, the third thing about what matters this week is state level decisions that are shaping veteran support right now. So in Connecticut, they had new laws come about, and it's expanding access to veteran services. So this includes nursing home care, protections for military families, dealing with moves and school transitions. I mean, I didn't have any children while I was in the military, so I moved 14 plus times. But imagine that family with 2 or 3 or 4 children and always having to move. So Connecticut is trying to make sure that that transition goes a lot smoother. So this, can mean a lot of things. So I am going to look out for Connecticut, watch Connecticut and watch the state laws that they're putting out, because the federal government has to respond to those laws that they're putting out. So if it means better care for our military, I am all for it. And that is what you need to know about this week. All right. So now I want to go into my tip of the week, right? So, do you know what happens when you plug a 110 volt inside of a 110 plug inside of a 220 volt outlet? Now, I learned this the hard way when I was in Germany. I was like, give it a try. What could happen, right? And that's because I didn't, understand how voltage works. So it either shuts down or it burns out, right? And it's not because the device that you plugged into is broken, but it's because it wasn't built to handle that kind of power. And that's exactly how dreams get damaged, right? A lot of us have these big goals, we have these big visions, but we rush, we overextend ourselves, and I'm guilty as charged. I used to be. Or we stay plugged into people or habits or environments that don't support what we are trying to build, right? And with too much pressure, and you going at the wrong pace, what should or could be your next steps turns into burnout. Or, you're quietly packing that dream away. Because what happens is you rush into here's the reason why I can't. Here's the reason why I can't. When in reality, you're just burned out, right? But I believe that the main ingredient is alignment. So I am going to encourage you to tune in and stay connected with people, with habits, and environments that truly support you and move you at the right pace. I want you to trust your intuition. Get to know your intuition. It will never steer you wrong. And I think when you do that, your dreams, they don't burn out, they grow. So that is our tip of the week. So how's it going for you so far? Take heed to that tip of the week, y'all. That's some good stuff. That is some really good stuff. That intuition, you already have the answers inside you. You already got it. You already have it. All right. And now we're going to get into my favorite part of the show. Y'all know what that is, right? It's the guest of the week. The guest of the week. And our guest of the week is Dr. Paul Posey. Now, Dr. Paul Posey is a retired U.S. Marine with over 20 years of honorable service. Beyond his military career, Dr. Posey is a professional photographer, accomplished author of 18 books, 18, and a lifelong advocate for personal growth and accountability. Dr. Posey is the founder and CEO of a nonprofit organization dedicated to supporting men and veterans, helping them navigate life transitions, emotional regulation. I had to slow it down for that because that is so deep. And purpose after service. As a veteran service officer and certified anger management specialist, he works at intersections of mental health, advocacy, and real world solutions, meeting people where they are and helping them move forward with clarity and strength. At his core, I know this for sure, he is a builder, a teacher, and an advocate who believes in turning life experience into leadership and pain into purpose. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Dr. Paul Posey.
Hey, Melissa.
Wait, you know what? And I always do this.
Yeah.
I want to start putting your information up. This is
Okay.
gonna, I already know it's gonna be a great New Year conversation. And this is what I wanted to do. See, I'm not as, savvy as you are when it comes to this stuff.
You're doing great. You are doing you are doing great. That is outstanding. Hey, when you was reading off the bio, I was like, who is that guy?
Right. Paul, I've had, and the reason why I know it's going to be a great conversation because, we know one another. And
Yes.
every time I talk to you, it is a master class in life. So thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. It is just an well, we're like brothers and sisters. You're not, you're not my elder, but
Right, right.
I just want to give you that respect and say thank you, sir. I appreciate the mentorship, the positivity you bring, and
Yeah.
all of that. We met at dog tag, right? The
Dog
dog
tag.
tag
Yep.
cohort with Georgetown University, and we've just stayed connected ever since. And before we even get started on the conversation, for those of you watching, I've got his Instagram, his Facebook, his website, and his LinkedIn information. So if you just want to write it down, I just want to bring that to your attention before we start the conversation, because I know you're going to buy one of these 18 books by the time we finish with this conversation.
Absolutely.
I just know it. And so I think, where do I want to lead with this? Let's go with, I want to start with 18 books.
Okay. Okay.
What? What? Why 18 books? I got one. Right. It's a wonderful thing. I've got one. I have not been able to churn out 18 another book yet.
Yeah.
So what is that commitment, that dedication that makes you stick to it and write 18 books? Let's start there.
The first book came from therapy. I started therapy in 2016 after I resigned. Well, around the same time I resigned from working from the VA. So we could talk about that.
Mm-hmm.
But my therapist asked me, could I write a book? And I was like, I don't know, because that wasn't on my list of things to do. It was to be a Marine, to be a dad, be a truck driver, and be a photographer. Those are things that I ever wanted to be in my life. And being an author was not one of them. So she asked me, could I write a book? And I says, I think I can. And being the overachiever that I am, what happened was I came back the next week and had half of the first book written. And then I said I was going to write, this was in October, I was going to write 4 more books by December. And I did accomplish that. So I wrote 5 books in 2 months and a total of 12 books in 8 months. The reason the books were written was kind of like your purpose of sharing the benefits documentation is that what will my family know after I'm gone? What they know about me, what they know about what I learned. And a lot of times we don't download to our family as we get the information. We store it, and then later we're nicely asked sitting on the front porch,
Right.
What do you think about this and what is that? What if you're not there?
Yeah.
So this is what you'll do. So I wrote the 12 books, and then I wrote 3 more. And then within the last 2 months, I wrote 3 more books. And first, when I was doing it, I had insomnia. So, coming through therapy and things like that, and what I went through within the Marine Corps, I could not sleep. And I struggled for that for years. And so once I started writing the books and incorporating the insomnia, I just kept going and going and going and going. Then after that, things that were happening in my life, I look at my brain as a computer,
Mm-hmm.
and you can only put so much storage in it. And this is where we get in trouble, is as the storage gets full, we start to be out of order as people. So my understanding is if it's too heavy for my brain housing group, let me write the book. Let me put this where it's no longer here, then I can learn something new. When I really started understanding that, when I wrote my book, Do You Want to See Your Daughter?
Mm-hmm.
And that's the book about my daughter telling me at age 37 that she had been molested at between 7 and 8 years old, and how her mother didn't believe her, and how we allow these molesters to stay in our family, because she tells me at 37, but this happened like 20 plus years prior to, and I was out on active duty and no one never told me. And one day while I was on home on leave, her mother called me and asked me, did I want to see my daughter? And that's where the book picks up at. The weight of being told and being displayed as not being my daughter's protector, that says to me, was too big to just sit in my head. So I wrote the book, and I want men to understand you have to protect your families no matter what. No matter what. And when your child is being told that she's lying about what took place, that's an issue. So that makes you write the book. Write the book, you know. And I think I put in the thing I wanted my option. Write the book, change your life.
Right.
So make room for new things, because you already got it in you. Because people tell me all the time, I got a book in me. I got a book in me. Then write the book. It'll change your life.
Wow. And so I'm just going to name off a couple of books.
Okay.
So because it hits home to your point. Your lived experiences are expressed through these, and you can tell by the title. Unless you can't have these titles, I think, unless you've been through it. You know what I'm saying? And so I'll just start with The Whole Journey, What They Didn't Tell You. Like you said, do you want to see your daughter a father's nightmare? When You Wake Up, Let the Healing Begin. The Art of the Search, it's a series of Flags and Whistles, Be Undumpable, Relationship IQ, and Sex. I Am My Own Dad, the bonus book, When Your Seed Means So Much. Unloved. Now that's a title.
Yeah.
Unloved. And the second part of that is The Residue of Dysfunction. Unloved, The Residue of Dysfunction. So if you guys are watching right now, these are the books that Dr. Posey has written. Batteries and Suckers, The Transfer of Wisdom, I Am My Own Dad, When You Love Your Children So Much, Be Undumpable, It Starts With You. And it's The 75% Man. Is that your latest? I can't.
85% man.
85. Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
All right. So let's go with, and I really, there's so much to unpack.
Yeah.
But let's start with your latest.
My latest is
The 85% Man.
No, the latest is actually Who Hurt You. I wrote another book. So we can go with it.
Because a lot of people want to know that.
Yes, it says Who Hurt You When a Mother Can't Love. So it's a tough book. It's a short but tough book. It talks about what it's like to be a man when your mother doesn't love you, and how it impacts your life and your relationships, and how sometimes when we're talking to women, they listen to a man's story and hear his pain, and then one of the questions is always asked, who hurt you? And I wrote the book. It was my mother and my father hurt me in his absence, and her lack of nurturing love towards me. So that really forms us. And then if you look at the trail of relationships you have, those two elements that are missing affects your relationships until you learn what love is, until you learn what giving is, or reciprocation or kindness, all those things. Until you learn that, you're not going to have good relationships. You'll just be learning one piece about another piece. And sometimes you take people on those journeys instead of understanding everything that it could and should be, because loved children pick better. They really do. Yeah. Yes. Especially if it's cross love. When a father loves his daughter and a mother loves her son, those cross loves are really important.
And I think that is a key point, because even if the mother is not in the home, or even if the father is not in the home, together,
Yeah.
they can still have that love and be nurtured and cared for and feel like they are, they are they are someone. And a lot of people don't get that. And they're broken, and they continue to repeat these patterns of hurt and of pain and of things, they just keep repeating these patterns that don't provide growth to their life. And so is that your elixir? Because everybody can't write. Well,
Right.
I can't say, but everyone can't write a book. Everyone can't write a book. Everyone definitely can't write 18 books. So for you, what worked for you is writing it down, making it plain, and then putting it in a book. So other people, because that's a gift from your experience that keeps on giving.
Yes.
And I love the way you titled each of your books, because if I need this, if I got a question about this, so I really like that. So are there other avenues when you work with men and things like that? Are there other avenues or challenges that for their healing process that you can give them that's not necessarily writing a book? I said all that to say.
Yeah. And that's why I created the program, the Change Agents, is to have an open, personal, facilitated conversation, not just get up in front of them and speak. No, we actually speak together. And most men don't have a safe place to actually voice their opinions about some of the things that happen in their life. They might tell their story, and then you get the response to it, but you don't actually get to talk to people who more than likely actually gone through what you've gone through. Life is repetitive. There's nothing new out there that's going to happen in the family that hasn't happened before.
Right.
You're just unique. And that's what they forget. They are the unique factor in there, because we've seen moms and dads fist fight in front of us. We've seen these other things. We've seen all these bad things. It's how you get a chance to talk about it and release it. So if you're not going to write a book, be someplace where you can trust the people to allow you the space and the time. And that's another reason why I created my program, is every workshop we're in has an exorbitant amount of time to allow you to speak and say your piece and say your part and listen to other people. And if you want a solution, we can probably find that in the room, because the ages is from 16 to the oldest gentleman I had in the room was 85 years old. Can you imagine the level of the decision-making factors you're going to hear? What worked, what didn't work, and what could be done. That's the purpose.
And so when you have, so I know I digress, I guess, but a lot of men cannot lead other men. They feel challenged or fearful of being able to, because you just give it straight. Yes. And so are you ever run up on the challenge of, well, I'm a man too. You can't, the pain, because that's just the pain talking when you're in a space of healing. Have you ever ran into challenges like that with men that don't want to be led or don't want to, follow your guidance through your program?
Think if you're in the business of asking more questions than talking, if you're listening and you can ask questions to help them get to it. Majority of the time, Melissa, is from your mouth to your ears. From your mouth to your ears. I'm just putting you in a space where it's not controlled or fought. If you put it in a space where it's fought, then you're going to stop talking. Yeah. I don't, I was asked once, do I use my Marine persona when I'm talking to the men? It's not necessary, because we're all men. So do I run into the bravado and the ego? No. Because I don't put them in a position where I'm talking like Gunnery Sergeant Posey. I am one of them. So in facilitation, it's not the same as a clinician. I'm just a man that's standing up, getting the topic so we can actually put it together and then have longevity and understanding that we are here together.
Yeah. That's okay. Well, that's very good and very necessary, because I think you can reach more people like that. Because you know, like I just imagine in my head, like you just trying to create a connection or communication with these men, and they're like, oh, you know, I'm a man.
You know, sometimes we're to the level, some of us want to cry.
Yeah.
But
Good.
my connection with them is I have a story. And unfortunately, majority thing that they're talking about, I've already gone through. So I'm never like in shock, and I'm never like in disbelief. I'm never a counter to the emotion connected with the experience.
Yeah.
So I'm in line with it, and I make sure from the beginning, you know, some of us might be angry and some of us might even cry, but it is your job to make sure we nurture each other in this conversation to allow that to happen. And I don't have to say, you know, you don't cry, or, you know, give him the knife hand. This is how it's supposed to be. That's not the purpose of the program. The purpose of the program is to actually give you an opportunity to say exactly what you want to say, how you want to say it, and then we can work on it. We can mold that. You just you threw up this big lump of clay. Let's mold it to an understanding, and maybe a tool, or maybe something you can do different than you've been doing, and you hadn't had a chance to even think about it and put it together.
And thank you for unpacking all of that. I think it's really important, you know, that they kind of know, like, it's not that type of program.
Yeah. But I want that program.
Right, that program. So let's take a look at your shirt. Now, I showed my Airborne 100. So that's negative to positive, love and legacy. All right. What is negative to positive all about? Tell us about that.
It's the understanding that some of us are born in a negative state, how we came about, the locations, our environment, and then you have to figure out who you're going to be and what you're going to do. Ooh. And if you address the negative things, which we think are negative in our lives, you're going to get to the 2 part. Then the 2 part is you're no longer in survival mode. You're kind of in limbo. You don't know what to do with yourself. You don't know how to go to positive. You don't know what positive. You're in survival mode. Now you got to go to thriving mode. And that's what happens from negative things you thought that really impact your life and emotionally just shut you down, to a point where they're no longer shutting you down, and you can look back and take the gems from it.
Right.
And now let's do something positive. And it started for me once I once I retired, graduated to civilian life,
right.
And then retired after 23 years of being a Marine. You have to reinvent yourself to being a civilian. And something you said about leadership, military people are talking about leadership. We get a class on leadership. Civilian guys don't. They don't know what exact leadership is. They just know managers and supervisors at their jobs. They don't understand true leadership, and they don't understand the leadership they must express in their families and the people that they create and the people that they marry. So we talk about that also. We talk about all 14 leadership traits that these guys could have, so they can start forming themselves. See, the purpose of negative to positive is to find all the missing pieces we didn't get from our parents, and then put that on, not like armor, but as a foundation to be greater and to redirect our families. See, the purpose of the change agents is someone needs to come in and be the tool that says, we've been doing this wrong.
Right.
We can do this better.
Right.
And here's how we're going to do it. And it's a tough road, but the program was created to help families to move forward, because we've been stagnant for like the last 30 years as families, and it's been just slowly going downhill.
It has.
We need to change that. We need to start moving uphill, and we need to start taking over our families and stop talking about what politics does for it, what economics does for it, because there's people in Africa who have nothing, but they have family. So if they can have family with nothing, and we got all these resources over here in the United States, we should be able to pull it together. It might take 2 generations, but it needs to start someplace. I'm not asking my grandsons to start doing what I'm doing, because I'm very capable. And now that I'm retired and I have my own business and I have my own time. I manage my own time. I have 9 hours of the day to learn something new and do something great for the people of tomorrow that
Yeah.
I've created, and it's a struggle because I'm part of that negative life that I have to struggle through in order to do something positive. So
Yeah.
there's times I do get depressed. I suffer from depression and
Yeah.
anxiety, but those times do happen. But I know that I have to keep moving forward no matter what, because they're looking at me because I put myself out there as Pawpaw.
Right.
I've done it. I've bared my shame, my mistakes, my piss poor decision making factors, and I was like, okay, here you go. This is what negative to positive looks like.
That is
In a short.
that is amazing. But you know what? This is the good part. So we don't have to unpack all of this today, because I can have you back on 18, 19, 20 times.
Right.
We can talk about each book every time you come on. But I think the journey and what you're doing is so crucial right now. It's critical, because the family, that nuclear family, what they used to call it is no more. And now you've got men and women just wandering every year, every second of the day. Who am I? What is my purpose? Who am I? What is my purpose? And until you like you said, find those missing pieces is exactly what you help people do. And I think that's a wonderful thing. And there was something else. Why are you so cool? Why are you so cool,
I can tell you, I've grown since I met you. I keep putting in the work. I'm cool now because I understand exactly who I am. I am everything. I remember after my divorce in 2011 that I was disgusted with who I was, and I had to figure out who I wanted to be and then start moving like that consistently. No matter what, stick to who you want to be, and you'll become that person. That means there's some doors you're going to have to kick down in your head and go through that stuff and throw out that doesn't help you to move forward. And then you start adding more things you never had before. There's things I never thought I would be doing, but I'm doing it right now. And one of the key things, let me say this. One of the key things was I learned how to make decisions. There's an art to making decisions, and we just haven't done it yet. So I'm not going to tell you how to do it. You got to read the book. So
and then the military has a decision-making process. I mean, it's a method. When you start to put those types of systems in place, like you said, it's a method. When you put those types of systems in place, and I think one of the key things that you said is you had to make a decision. You got to burn the boats. Everything. Once you make that decision, this is who I am. This is who I want to be. You got to burn the boats, like they say, and you got to keep moving forward, because this is the boat you're riding in, and this is the boat you're going to live out of. And I think once you decide who you are or who you want to be, and you start working towards that, other things are just going to fall in place. Absolutely. Have you noticed that about your life?
Yes, absolutely. It lacks the chaos. See, when you have no direction, you're all in chaos. And then there's chaos to your left and chaos to your right and chaos behind you. Once you make that decision, and here's the key, you ain't got to write a book. Write down who you want to be. There's a video on my YouTube page. I think it's not on there. I'll make sure I put it in the inbox.
Okay.
That I wanted to be a good man. And I wrote down 3 things that I made a video of what a good man is. Integrity, coachable, teachable, and I think lovable was on there too. Yeah, I wanted to be all those things. So there's things on the inside you're going to have to fix so those things can come to you and not stand at the doors like, I'm not coming in that house of chaos. No, you're going to have to throw some things out to make room for that.
Wow. And then, so the next question, well, let me just tell you guys now, Dr. Posey has also challenged me to write my next book. So one of the things that I like to focus on is self-care, because, in Shero Coffee Club, we have 4 pillars. That's goal achievement, self-expression, self-care, and connection. So my first goal is to get that book done on self-care. And thank you for your guidance on like how to get it started. So I appreciate that. And so the last question is, what is next for you, Dr. Posey?
Wow. I ask my friends that all the time. So what's next? Well, you're going to come up with it. My next move is to work with the Veterans Treatment Court that they have here in Georgia. And then I would like to work with the Department of Corrections for men who are about to get out. And also homeless men who are going to go from homelessness to housing to family connections. Those conversations need to be had. It's one thing I learned is people are not going to be ready to accept these men back in their lives.
Mm-hmm.
But it needs to be done. It needs to be done because they feel abandoned. And these men that are in the shelters are going to die in the shelters if they never connect with their families. And the people who come from the streets to the shelters, if they never find the idea of understanding that family is the key, they'll never get started. Right. And that's one of the keys to sobriety is to connect with the love that you created. Because majority of the time, these people with these substance abuse issues, they're symptoms, not the problem.
Right.
So we need to know that. So what's next for me is to connect with more men, get me some partners and some donors to make sure that this program expands beyond this region. I just reached out to Gary, Indiana, where I'm from, and try to go back home because they're trying to make some changes there. And I want to be a part of change for my hometown.
Yeah.
So,
wonderful. Wonderful.
Yeah.
All right. Well, it has been a pleasure, and we will definitely see you, more of you in 2026. You might need your little on Dr. Posey corner on the Shero Coffee Chat. On the Shero Coffee Chat. But thank you so much for being a guest on the show. And the last words are up to you. You can say whatever you want to say.
Stop letting change come via pain. Drop the mic. Stop letting change come via pain. And that's what we do. And it kind of wastes time with our loved ones and our family members and those who are watching us grow. So be powerful. Powerful is your ability to make changes without negative stimuli. That's it. Wonderful.
Well, thank you for coming on the show, and we will see you again.
Yes. I can't wait till your next book comes out. You got 3 days. Hey, Melissa, you got 3 days.
I know. All right, Dr. Posey. Bye-bye.
All right. Have a powerful day. Bye-bye.
All right. Same to you. All right, you guys. That was Dr. Posey. That was our first show of 2026. And I just want you to continue to tune in with me as I bring you continuous information. You know, I always ask myself, what information can I provide that will help other people? That's always my North Star of the show. It's always about helping. And that's why I started this outside the Shero Coffee Club, because I felt in my soul that there was more to do. And here is that more, just trying to reach out to you and provide you with information. But guess what? You got to respond back. I got to know what you're thinking. I got to know what's on your mind. I got to know what you need. So when you tune in, please use the comment section. Please just ask questions, and you can always go to sherocoffee.com to connect with us as well. Until then, I hope you have a pleasant week. We'll see you next week.